Good morning. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. We had a fun service here last week. You know, in the past, I've dressed up as goofy characters and we've sung different things. We didn't do any of that this last one, but it was nice. We just had a good time and played good music. It's Trans-Siberian, so everybody's kind of going, So, yeah, rock and roll, what can I say? So, t-shirts and sweatshirts that you may or may not want to have hanging on your body. You're never too old for nap time. I kind of like that one, so, yep. And I can't say this one, got too many kids in the audience. All aboard the Hot Mess Express. I broke up with my gym, we just weren't working out. All right. And we have our patron saints, George Carlin and John Lennon. So, hey. And John said, of course, if everyone demanded peace instead of another television set, then there would be peace. So, and George, equally as insightful, I'm always relieved when someone is delivering a eulogy and I realize I'm not listening to it. And I realize I am listening to it. That made more sense. Wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And you laughed anyway. What?
He says applause and laughter.
Oh. Most ignorance is vincible in ignorance. We don't know because we don't want to know. It's bad taste to be wise all the time, like being at a perpetual funeral. Okay. The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. A wise man's question contains half the answer. Tis true. Anybody get anything really interesting or fun for Christmas?
We got a puppy.
Yes, we did get a puppy. That was unintentional. Yeah, she is adorable. So, but that wasn't intentional. It was just an accident. So it wasn't supposed to happen until maybe spring. But, you know, like kids, you know, oops. Just happens. Pepsi-Cola was invented by a young pharmacist named Caleb Brandham in 1898. Originally called Brad's Drink, the beverage was first marketed as a digestive aid and energy booster. It was renamed Pepsi-Cola because of its pepsin and cola nut content. So, now you know. All right. And, okay. There is true music of nature, the song of the birds, the whisper of the leaves, the ripple of the waters upon a sandy shore, and the wail of wind or sea. So, I still remember it was such a you know how you have these instances in your life you just remember for no particular reason? When we had Deneen here 10 years ago, we had brought her in to do a concert for us because we love her music. And we drove her around the Northwest because she'd never been here. And I remember we went over on the coast and one of those blustery, gray days, and we were at the seashore, inland sea anyway, and the waves were just being pounded up on the shore because of the wind. I mean, the wind in your face and oh God. It was really something. Okay, sorry. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
I firmly believe on that. Write on your hearts that every day is the best day of the year. 'Tis. I'm glad I woke up not dead again today. So. Yeah. Finding one of her students making faces at each other on the playground, Mrs. Smith stopped to gently reprove the child. Smiling sweetly, the Sunday school teacher said, "Bobby, when I was a child, I was told that if I made ugly faces, it would freeze and I would stay that way." Did you hear that too as a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did too, yeah. Bobby looked up into her face and replied, "Well, Mrs. Smith, you can't say you weren't warned."
Oh, bad boy.
Now he's in trouble.
He's going to flunk.
Ever wonder why the sun lightens your hair but darkens your skin? Ever wonder why women can't put on mascara with their mouths closed? Ever wonder why you don't ever see the headline, "Psychic wins lottery"? Ever wonder why it's abbreviated, such a long word? Or why is it that doctors do what they call, say, practice? That always concerns me. And of course, you can tell how old this list is. Why is it that to stop Windows 98, you have to click on Start? So that was back in 2003 that I got this one. So I just recycle everything, you know. Can't remember things from a month ago, so it's all new. So. Anybody doing anything fun for New Year's? Any good parties? Oh, that's always fun. Yeah. What are you doing?
I'm going to learn how to make raviolis because a friend of mine sent a relative to the store for flour and they came home with 25 pounds of flour.
If you want to know how to use that to bake something, right here, this lady right there, boy, she's master baker. So I went to the doctor for my yearly physical. The nurse starts with certain basics. How much do you weigh, she asks. 115, I replied. The nurse has me step on the scale. Turns out I'm 140. The nurse asks your height. I say 5'8". The nurse checks and sees that I only measure 5'5". She then takes my blood pressure and tells me it's very high. Well, of course it's high, I scream. When I came in here, I was tall and slender. Now I'm short and fat. She put me on Prozac. What can you say? What can you say? Let's sing a song. How about Josh Groban?
Oh, yeah.
Don't go too far, Phil.
Prayer for joy. Return me to joy, O my beloved one. My heart is broken and been burdened with unrelenting sorrow. Release me from this sorrow and grant me a clear passage into joy. I've forgotten how to laugh. I've forgotten how to sing. I've forgotten how to dance. Bring not only a remembrance of laughter, but bring a new, brighter laughter. Bring a new song to my soul. Bring a new dance into my heart. Bring it now. May it be so. The gratitude is I'm grateful for this clear passageway into joy.
Want to describe them real quick too before you read? Go ahead. Go ahead, Jason.
In case people don't know what the ancient ones are, would you just tell them what that is?
This is from the Ancient Ones, and these are the Ascended Masters as channeled through Janice, and they have just beautiful. In this book, I highly recommend it if you don't have it. Sacred choice. You have been given a sacred choice. You can view your life as tragic and difficult, or you can view your life as blessed and sacred. The same circumstances may exist in both perceptions, yet when you choose to view the sacredness of life, it becomes beautiful. The beauty may not be without difficulty, yet even in difficulty there can be beautiful moments. How can one see the beautiful moment when life's difficulties loom? Employ your childlike wonder. You may not remember the first time you saw a bug, yet in that moment there was no judgment of whether it was good or bad, right or wrong. It was just a new thing to be discovered. Later you learned that bugs could bite or they felt creepy on your skin. Later you learned that your parents didn't want bugs on you. But before those judgments, you merely had fascination and curiosity. You wondered what it was and what it could do. You wondered if it wondered who you were. The process of wonderment allowed your open curiosity room to explore. Employ this same curiosity now. Allow yourself to explore your options for growth. for experiencing. This allows space between you and the circumstances. This provides breathing room between you and fear and struggle. It is within this breathing room that new insights happen. It is within this breathing room that the divine source can speak to your heart. It is within this breathing room that you can speak to divine source. It is within this breathing room that you can breathe. It is within this breath that you can regain your composure, your focus, your bright spirit of hope and joy, your sacred self. We long to see you regain your sacred self. We await your return.
Mr. Phil? You want to do the bell?
No prelude, just me ringing a bell? Cool.
Welcome to services. Here we go. You're being urged for. More cowbell. More cowbell.
More cowbell.
There you go.
Don't let it go. It's okay. It's okay. You know, my life is interesting, don't you? You have a calendar. If you don't, I was remiss in getting them handed out. Hopefully, you can grab one off the back table as you go. There's a couple of things on here I want to draw your attention to. First of all, on the 15th, I'm going to do the Expo leadership meeting. If you're one of the Expo leaders, I really need to meet with you, and we're going to go over our game plan. So more information on that directly, I'll get that directly to you. Then on the 18th, I'm going to do a special workshop that I don't know that I've ever done it as a workshop. No, I've never done it as a workshop. It's called soul-to-soul communication. And if you've ever had somebody that you really wanted to talk to, but they can't hear you, or you talk to them and it just doesn't come out right, whatever, and there's a struggle or difficulty, and just being really clear would be helpful. This is a powerful process. I recently shared this with a person, and within 4 days, someone they hadn't spoken to in years made contact, or they had contact with that person. Back in 2012, I shared it with another member of our group, and she was having difficulty with a friend. And within minutes of our session, matter of fact, she didn't get out the door, and that person was calling her on the phone. When I was first developing this process, way back before the church even started, I worked with my friend Deb Rowden, who attends occasionally. She lives in Goldendale now. And she and her husband were having conflict. And so we did this soul-to-soul communication. It's a meditative process. And by the time we were done, we barely finished the process, and he was calling to apologize. An apology was not a normal thing for him. So, so it's profound ability to speak your truth and be heard on a whole different level. So I'm going to teach that as a process in a group on Saturday the 18th from 10:30 to noon. I really hope you can participate in that. If you have any other questions about things on the calendar, please see me or see the person who's listed as the contact person for that. Okay, I have lots to share with you today. We made it through 2019, almost. We're almost there. Woohoo! Yay!
The first 20 years of this century go.
Where did they go? I don't know. I still think it's 1998. I don't know what the heck that is. But anyway. So, goodbye 2019. Got a lot to share with you about that. As you look back on 2019, can you remember challenges and difficulties, or can you remember bright, joyful things? Which is easiest to remember, do you think? Or is it just blank? I don't know. I'm glad that year's over. Yeah. What happens here is that our brain is hardwired for negative bias. Remember, we've talked about this before. It's a scientifically proven fact. Because it's to keep us safe. If we learn from our mistakes, we don't make the same mistakes again, we make new ones, but then we're safe, we keep ourselves safe. So this negativity bias is programmed to keep us safe, which is all well and good. But unfortunately, that negativity bias only remembers what we screwed up, where we failed. Doesn't remember the successes, doesn't remember the joys, doesn't remember the fantastic sunshiny day, whatever. Doesn't remember that stuff because it's not programmed to. However, our higher awareness, that expansive awareness we've been talking about, does remember that sort of thing. And it requires attention and intent to move into that higher state of awareness to acquire that information. Why am I telling you this? Because we got a year that's just coming to a close. And I can't tell you how many times I've read on Facebook, thank God this year is over. Well, it's probably no worse than any other year we've had. But you know, that negative bias brain is saying it was bad because we weren't perfect. Let's give up the perfect crap, shall we? Let's just not do that anymore. We don't need to be perfect because we're doing the best that we can with the best that we've got, right? And that's what matters. That's what matters. We're working towards improving, certainly. But working towards perfection just makes you insane. And it's time to let that go. We don't need to do that. But we can choose to look at our life, look at our days differently. That expanded awareness finds the good in everything. I had a wonderful opportunity yesterday. I love it when Spirit just brings me stuff for your benefit, don't you? Anyway, had somebody text me. And bless their heart, this person, when they text, they like text 6 to 10 messages at a time. And sometimes you can't follow them along, and they're always, oh my God. So when I heard past the third ding, I thought, oh. And I thought, that's negativity bias. I'm really glad this person is reaching out to me because, and I found the because I can help them. Because I have a calming effect on their soul. Because they know they're screwed up in this moment and they are reaching for truth. They can't find it by themselves. Instant shift, instant change, text a couple times back and forth, and rather than 50 times back and forth, it only took twice. And they were all mellowed out and everything was good. What changed? Me. And my attitude, my perception of that. Because this person was searching for truth. They couldn't find their truth. I'm really good at helping people find their truth. I'm really good at that. So I was able to zip right in, encourage them, and give them their truth back, hand them their truth back. And at the same time, acknowledge that they were heard. What more do we really need? Really? And a friend, what more do you need? So what a blessing that was. And it was a blessing to me when I shifted my consciousness, shifted out of that negativity bias and into this positive perspective. So remember Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty? It's good. It's all good. I want you to remember that. It's good. Throughout this week, from now until the new year, well, and into the new year, I want you to just remember, it's good. Whenever you're hit with a frustration, it's good. Oh, my car has a flat tire. It's good. I get to sit and be still for a few minutes because there's nothing I can do till AAA arrives. That's good. That's a good thing. I could take this time and draw on a piece of paper, or I could take this time and pray. I could take this time and just relax. I could take this time and nap. Yeah, there's no bad time for a nap, right? No bad time for a nap. So it's good. It's all good. It's important to shift out of that because our natural fallback is this, it's not good. There's something wrong here. I totally screwed up. I should have checked, shoulda, coulda, woulda, oughta, gotta, must, have to, always and never is judgment. And we can let that go. And we can be in this moment with clarity and into that higher state of awareness that blesses us. And when we're in that higher state of awareness, some really cool things happen. Besides coughing, Phil and I were out taking our new puppy for a walk. Our first walk, she was so cute. And as we started out on the trail, we saw this beautiful bald eagle flying right up the trail. And then as we turned around to watch it, we saw that there was another bald eagle ahead of it, so there were two of them flying that way. It was like, how wonderful was that? Because we stopped to take a moment and look around. We were watching her, and is she doing it right? Have we got the harness on right? La, la, la. But we took a moment, looked up, and in that moment, we saw this eagle, silent. If we hadn't stopped and looked up and around, we'd have missed it. We'd have missed it. And that's what happens when we get in this negativity bias. There's all this wonderful good stuff happening, and we miss it because we're focused in, we're focused down. So taking that moment to reevaluate, reassist ourselves into moving into this higher awareness is really powerful, really powerful. So we find the cause. Find the cause. If you find the cause, you can find the blessing. I'm really glad this is happening because, and it may take a minute or two, because when we get frustrated or we're in that negativity bias, there's no good there. There's no good in negativity. It's all bad. So if there's no good in this situation, you're still in the negativity bias, look again. And looking at it again with this childlike wonder that, like Beth read from the ancient ones, it's just a bug. We deem it bad because we know, that's a wasp, it could sting and bite. But if I'm over here and it's over there and I don't mess with it, it's not going to bother me a bit. I can look at it. And it's okay to look at stuff. It's okay to look at discomfort. It's okay to look at things that annoy us and frustrate us and make us feel uncomfortable. It's okay to look at that stuff. Matter of fact, it's a blessing to look at that stuff. And if we bring this expanded awareness into that situation, then it changes. It's not bad anymore. It's just a thing that's happening. And when it's just a thing that's happening, then we're separate from it. We're not hooked up in it. It doesn't own us. We own us. You're not the boss of me. I'm having to teach that puppy she's not the boss of me. She likes to think she's the boss of me, but she's not. Anyway. So, I want to read a couple of things from the good book for you. Psalms 118, verse 24. This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118, 24. This is the day the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So it's good. Even if you're struggling, it's good. Now here's the thing. When we're processing life, stuff's going to keep coming up. Have you ever had the same thing or same kind of thing come up over and over and over again? It's not that you're failing. It's just that you're becoming aware of another level to clear out. If you're on a weight loss situation, I know there's several people in the room who are doing that. When you get to the weight that you were when you put some pounds on, you may have put some pounds on during a trauma. And when you lose to that point, that trauma or a similar trauma is going to reawaken, reassert itself, so that you can look at it and get clear of it. Then you won't regain the weight. Did you know that? Because here's the thing. If I'm going to shove food in my face, I have. It's taken me a year to lose 7 pounds. I'm okay with 7 pounds. A little slow, but that's okay. It's coming up. But as the weight comes down, whatever triggered me to eat pounds on is now resurfacing, and I'm looking at it again. But the good news is that I'm looking at it. So a conflict maybe will come up with a different person, but it's still a conflict. And rather than going and shoving food in my face, now I get to look at it differently. Now you could use anything. Watching too much television, too much time on the internet, drugs, alcohol, whatever. Whatever it is that we do that keeps us from this higher state of awareness is harmful to the body. And as we shift into this higher state of awareness, then we're going to have challenges that try to pull us back into this negativity bias, because guess what? That's natural. That's normal. You're not bad. It's just that's how it is. Because that lower awareness, that primal brain, wants us to be safe. So it will bring things up for us to feel, ooh, oh no. And it wants us to stay in this negativity bias and be small. You can't live joyfully and fully and freely if you're small. Doesn't happen. You just live survival. You just live little. But we want to live. We want to live. We want to live, and we want to make a difference in the world. If you're in this room, you came to make a difference in the world, in your world, right? You all feel that. You all feel that destiny running through your veins. And you don't do that by being small. You do that by this expanded awareness. And you get to that expanded awareness by asking, what's the because? I am glad this happened because. I'm grateful this happened because. And when we can look at that, that changes everything. Because that brings to us appreciation, acknowledgement, and gratitude. The gratitude is this feeling that we experience when gratitude happens, when that appreciation happens. Okay, so we can appreciate, oh, I can appreciate this person reaching out. They're looking for their truth. The person that was texting me so much. I can appreciate that. And when I appreciate that, I'm no longer in judgment of that. And I can acknowledge that I was there for them. That I stepped out of my comfort zone. I mean, I could have been playing a video game. But no, I stopped it. I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was playing with a puppy. But I stopped and paid attention to this person who was reaching out. And I can acknowledge myself for that. Now, that's not pride. Acknowledging when we are on track is not pride. That, because we all like, oh, I can't be proud. That's not a good thing. It's an acknowledgement of a success, an acknowledgement of walking the sacred path. And when we acknowledge that, what happens? The sacred path gets brighter. The sacred path gets clearer. Our intent gets clearer. And our expanded awareness expands even further. So when we rejoice in the day, that grants us the ability to shift and be in this space, this higher expanded awareness. And I don't know why this verse came up, but I just heard dawn, the wings of dawn. I don't remember ever reading this verse before. So I had to look it up. Wings of dawn, what's that about? And this is in Psalms 139. And this is my grandmother's Bible that I got when she passed away. Gonna cry. Gosh, she was a woman of faith. She was an ornery old cuss. But she was a powerful, formidable woman of faith. Anyway, and she wrote, yesterday, today, and always. That's her handwriting right here in the Bible I'm reading to you. And this is one of her favorite Bible passages. So that whole chapter is amazing. But I want to point out a couple of things just right here where it talks about the wings of dawn. Where can I go from thy spirit? Or where can I live from thy presence, or flee from thy presence? Get this in the realm of vision. If I ascend to heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in Sheol, or that's the nether world, the underworld weather. Behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of dawn, if I dwell in the remotest part of the sea, even there thy hand will lead me, and thy right hand will lay hold of me. If I say, surely the darkness will overwhelm me, and the light will be night, even the darkness is not dark to thee, and the night is as bright as the day. Darkness and light are alike to thee. And you know, in our troubled times, we think, oh, it's so dark, things are getting grim, and the world is going to hell in a handbasket. Mm-mm. There's just as much light here as there always was. And we may be perceiving it from that darker perspective, that negativity bias. Last little bit, verse 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, meaning challenge me, and know my anxious thoughts. And see if there is any hurtful way in me. Are we doing things that hurt ourselves? Are we thinking things that are hurtful to us? Is that negativity bias challenging us? Last verse. And lead me in the everlasting way. There's a way that's above that and beyond that. That's that path of ascension that you're on. That leads you to your destiny. That allows you to fulfill your destiny. One last little quick verse. Chapter 4 of Philippians. This whole chapter is really, really good. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Said it twice. Rejoice. It's good. It's just good. Allow yourself to rejoice in that because you can, because it's beautiful. Everything is beautiful when we look at it from that expanded awareness. So if you look at your calendar, I want to share with you the backside of your calendar. This is a gratitude, appreciation, acknowledgement power tool. I would strongly encourage you to make 31 of these. What we need is an app. I don't know how to make an app, but I need an app on the computer so we could do this, right? Or you could do it on your phone. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to find somebody who knows how to do apps. Anyway, make 31 copies of these and number them 1 through 31 day here. And then you'll see you have all of the months. So on January the 1st, or if you're on the 5th month in January, whatever. So all of the things that happen on the 1st or the 10th or whatever are going to happen, you're going to note them. And you're going to take note when you're in your higher awareness, your expanded awareness. That's when you can find things to be grateful for, things to have appreciation of, or people to have appreciation of, and acknowledgments of yourself. And as you just jot notes to yourself, please, because then you can go back and on the first day of February, you've already got a notation of something wonderful that happened. And your sacred awareness goes, oh yeah, I remember. Because by 30 days, your negativity bias has gone, there's nothing, not a single good thing happened in January. It's a bad month, right? Because that's what we're programmed to do. So to unprogram is to take a new look at this, do it differently than this. Now, I call this a power tool because it really was powerful. When I left my first husband, I had to walk away from my home, had to walk away from my clothes, had to walk away from my church, had to walk away from everything. I left with a single bag and my teenage son. And that was it. And so it was hard. It's still hard. It's still hard. But this tool got me through it. Because it was like I had to face stuff I'd never had a full-time job before. We lived in poverty, but I was never allowed to work. I had a short part-time job, and that was all. So I had to start from scratch. And my son was in a dark place, heading down that road, slippery road of addiction. Some days I felt so overwhelmed I wish I was dead. Other days I was so grateful to be alive and have a new chance. But this tool saved my butt. It literally saved my butt. Because I could go, oh, look, on this day I bought a car. I'd never bought a car before. Look at that. I did that. If I can do that on this day, then I can do this thing that's coming up in my face, and I don't know if I can make it or not. Well, if I did that, I can do this. It gave me strength, gave me power, it gave me wisdom. And as I grew, I found that I could read things that were powerful for me. And then if I was really having a bad day, I read them all. January, I read through everything because I had nothing but this prayer, my connection to God, and my will. That was it. And then Phil came along and that changed my world. But I remember lots of things that I had never done before and that I faced that I didn't know I could. And remembering that I could get there empowered me to take the next step because I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea. Who was I? I didn't know who I was. I had no spine. I gained a spine. I gained a soul. I gained a journey. And this was one of the tools that got me there. So I wanted you to have this before the first of the year because I want you to use this. It's my heart's desire for you to step out of negativity bias every day and step into moments of clarity and moments of this ascended awareness, this ascension awareness, expanded awareness that brings us joy. And not just joy, but power. Power to function, power to step out of what was and into what you want it to be. And here's the really cool kicker thing, is that as we're writing things down that we have gratitude for, this feeling of gratitude flows. If we write down something that we have appreciation for, someone we have appreciation for, that inspires more gratitude. And as we write about things that, oh, look, I acknowledge this task that I accomplished, that empowers us even more. And what happens is the universe feels what energy we're emitting and brings us more just like that. Oh, look, she's grateful. Let's give her more to be grateful for. It works. It really works. So whatever your year was last year, glory, hallelujah, we're here today. We could take a deep breath. That's done and gone. Let's move on. And whatever your next year looks like, whatever 2020 looks like for you, you now have another tool you can use that will empower you and strengthen you even further. And by utilizing that tool, that grants you this energetic structure that the universe reads, sees, and responds to, and brings you back even more to bless you. So take it on. You might want to take it on the first thing in the morning, last thing at night, maybe once a week, maybe every couple of days, whatever. Whatever works for you. And know that there's no wrong way to do it. Maybe you only get a few notes on there. That's okay. Those few notes, those moments when you can just take a look and remember the good stuff is so powerful. And maybe it's just as simple as this gray skies and the sky opens up and there's a beam of sunshine and it just feels so awesome. Write about that. The sun broke through. It was a sunbreak in the cloud cover. And you know what? When you write it down, you come back and read it, you'll see it and feel it and experience it all over again. And when you have that sense and that childlike wonder and, oh, wow, guess what? The universe says, let's send you more of that. And it may not look like a cloud break. It may look like a bright face coming and saying, oh, you know what I really like about you is that you have a kind heart. And it will come back to you over and over again. Let's do a guided meditation, shall we?
Jen,
Yes, ma'am.